G'day guys, so today we are talking about none other but one of the probably 3 or 4 kings of the leg exercises, and that is the hack squat. Fantastic exercise to blow those quads up. Okay, so let's start with a few faults that people might run into when it comes to this exercise. What happens is they adopt the same concept of the bracing with their free weight squats. So with the bracing, the free weight squats, we're looking to pull our shoulder blades back and down and brace all this midsection by taking a big deep breath and holding that breath and driving out of the hole, breathing at the top, take that breath in, hold, up and down. The thing with the hack squat is that because we have this big backing, we actually don't need to brace as heavily through the squat pattern, or we don't need to be bracing from the very top. Okay, so we will brace, okay, because more stability equals probably more, or not probably, it equals more stimulus through the working muscle. However, we're going to talk about breathing techniques in order so that you can achieve rep ranges of 15, 20, 25 without gassing out, because you're taking a big deep breath and holding that breath in. Okay, so your lungs are more likely to give way on this exercise than say your quads are to be completely fatigued. Okay, so let's talk about how to actually execute this exercise. We're going to use this bench to its utmost or benefit for ourselves or functionality, in that what we're going to be doing is the first point of call is to create 3 points of contact both with your feet but also with your body. Okay, so your 3 points of contact with your body are your hips into the back of the bench, so we don't want these hips coming up and off the lower lumbar support. A lot of people, when they get down into that bottom position, they roll their hips under and they lose that back padding. I want you to think that that's a point in which you can't come off. Okay, so when we are in this position, we're going to be driving our force back into the bench. Okay, and we're going to be generating that through the hips. So we're driving those hips back and in. We're going to be pulling our shoulder blades back and down, create that back stability that we're after, and that's going to be point 2. And then our head in the back of the bench is going to be point 3. So now we have a nice neutral straight spine. Okay, let's talk about the 3 points of our feet. 3 points of contact with our feet are the exact same 3 points of contact that we would have in any squat pattern. The first 2 are up on our tippy toes. The last one, is on our heels. We're going to screw them in, and it's going to create external rotation, so our knees are going to want to go out. Fantastic. Why? Because the essence of all squat patterns is to take your torso, put it between your feet, come back up again. Now, if our knees are in the way, then we're going to cause issues. A lot of people with this particular exercise as well find that their knees load up, and that's because they probably just don't have that range to get right over the tops of their toes, and they're loading up this tendon here, and all of a sudden it's causing all sorts of pain, right? So we need to allow some room for our knees to not blow out, bad choice of word, but allow our knees to travel out to allow our torso to go in and not load these quadricep tendons in through the patella. So we're going to screw these feet in, we're going to push our knees out. Remember, our force is driving back through the hips, our shoulder blades are pinned back and down, our head's against the bench. Now, this is where it's going to get a little confusing, and that with your feet, I actually want you to think that you're trying to slide your feet up and forward, okay? We don't want them moving, but I want that force pushing forward with your feet, and your hips are driving back, okay? So it's a push out, drive back, push, drive, okay? What's going to happen is that when you do this, your quads are going to come alive during the exercise. Also, this will help with your hip stability and keeping that third point on the bench. And then with your shoulder blades pinned back and down and your head on its point, you should be just loading these quads up. We are stable everywhere. Stable through the feet and ankle, stable through the hips, back, and all it is this point here taking all that load. Now, this is where we're going to use the bench to its full range, in that by driving our weight back into the bench, it's not going to impact the functionality of it, because it's just going to roll up and down. So we're using this back brace to the utmost advantage for ourselves. Now, let's talk about breathing when we do this exercise. What I want you to concentrate on is that we're going to get out of this mode of holding our breath at the top and driving down. What we're going to do is we're actually going to suck the air in on the way down, brace, drive. Okay, so it's going to look like something like this. Hips driving back, feet driving forward, shoulder blades back and down, head touching, and shoulder blades touching the pad. We're going to take that big deep breath in on the way down. Knees out, drive up. Okay, when you execute it like this, your quads are going to come alive, your knees aren't going to be loaded, your back's going to be nice and stable, and it is just going through these quads. Okay, team, that there is how you want to make sure that you are going through your hack squat. Remember, lower lumbar isn't to roll at the bottom. We want to control that negative, load these quads, drive out of the hole, and you are going to use this to absolute benefit. And remember, more tension accumulated over a longer period of time is going to give you better strength and hypertrophy results. All right, team, that there is how you go about doing your hack squat.